couple articles out there already talking about Laker trade rumors, 3-and-D players that the Lakers can go after. Another player that's not necessarily a 3-and-D guy because he's too small. But the conversation has already started about players that the Lakers should be targeting, go out and try to make a trade for. And then I think this will also tie into what Rich Paul said yesterday. And I'm curious to get people's opinion on whether they like the Rich Paul chatter and whether Rich Paul is speaking for LeBron or they don't like it. Do they think, no, that's a distraction, that's a headache? I don't mind it. And I'm going to tell you guys why I don't mind it. But let's first do this. Let's first talk about some of these 3-and-D players that are starting to get kind of rumored around the Lakers. I think we could all agree on one thing when it comes to some of this initial trade chatter and conversations about what the Lakers need to do with their roster. I think we could all agree on this. As is, Lakers can't truly compete in the Western Conference. My personal opinion. Right? If people think the roster that they currently have is good enough to make some major noise in the West. I'm talking about being a top 2 team in the Western Conference, a real shot of playing the Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. I don't think this roster can get it done. You have too many areas that signal some red flags. By the way, that's okay. You don't have to be a top 2 team in the Western Conference on December 10th. I don't think you have to be that. So I think it's better off. I think the Lakers are in a phenomenal spot. You're 17-6. You got off to a great start. You've had some stars playing. You've had some stars out. LeBron is just working his way back. And with all that being said, you're still winning games. You're still winning games without your stars. You got some impressive wins under your resume. Yeah. Have you had your strength of schedule been a little bit easier? Sure. Okay, that's fine. You don't. How are you supposed to know New Orleans was going to be bad? Clippers was going to be bad. Dallas is going to be bad. Sacramento. That you have nothing to do with that. So I'm not worried about the strength of schedule, even though I look forward to when the Lakers play good teams, because I do think that's a good way of kind of gauging how your team is and kind of the direction that they're heading. With all that in mind, it's an imperfect roster. All right, there's only one roster that's probably perfect. It's the Oklahoma City Thunder. Denver might have some flaws. Houston might have some flaws. There's a lot of teams out there that have some flaws. But have your flaws on December 10th. Don't have your flaws a little bit later. So this is going to start and trigger the conversation of, all right, well, what do the Lakers need? What should they go out and get? The 3-and-D prototype, I think, is the prototype everybody's going to agree with. Here's what the Lakers need. They need a player that's, I would say, young, athletic, can play defense, can hit threes, can guard multiple positions, has great wingspan. That is, if you said, you don't have to name a player, give me the type of player you're thinking of, that's the way I would describe that player. And if that player then eventually ended up being in the starting lineup and is next to AR and Luka and Ayton and LeBron, awesome. If that moves Rui to the bench and now you add a little bit of depth, so now Rui and Marcus Smart, those are 2 guys that you could depend on in a playoff series, in a playoff game, awesome. However, it kind of mixes into play. The Lakers need more talent. And they also need a player that fits that prototype that I'm talking about. So Bill Simmons was doing I don't know if Bill Simmons was in an interview. I'm not sure what it was, but I'm going to look here and specifically what he had to say. And then also there's some other people out there that had some comments as well. So Sam Amick of The Athletic was talking about the type of players Lakers can use. Sam Amick was on FanDuel TV's Run It Back program. I'm going to do one on Sam Amick. I'm going to do one on Bill Simmons, and then we can kind of react to what we think here. I talked to somebody yesterday who said the Lakers are looking for a 3-and-D type of guy. Could it be Keon Ellis, Herb Jones, or somebody like that? We keep seeing those 2 names come up. Now, listen, the Keon Ellis, you got to just remember his size. Herb Jones about 6'7", so that's more of your prototypical 3-and-D guy. Keon Ellis would be a player you probably have in your backcourt that's just kind of a tough defender, a good player, but he's not your prototypical 3-and-D player. All right, let me keep reading here, okay? And there was one specifically. Fine, did I get this Bill Simmons one? Let me find the Bill Simmons one, because Bill Simmons he had specifically put on there a trade package that the Lakers should do now. Now, I will say this, and I think this does come with the territory. Every time that I see the Lakers brought up in, trade conversations, I instantly ask myself, will this team want to do a trade with the Lakers? Okay. So let me read off the first one that Bill Simmons did. He said, I would trade Herb Jones right now. The contract he's at, literally what the Lakers need. And it's easy. Dalton Connect, Maxi Kleba, a 2031 first rounder, call it in. Okay, let's kind of play that out for a quick second. If you told me that the Pelicans like the idea of trading Herb Jones to the Lakers, by the way, a franchise that will probably always be upset about having to make a trade with the Lakers because Anthony Davis demanded to go there, and Lakers ended up winning an NBA championship. And then all these other guys that they got, Brandon Ingram gone, Lonzo Ball gone. I know some of those decisions are up to the Pelicans. Zion obviously can't stay healthy on the floor or anything like that. The Pelicans are in a complete free fall. If you told me today that the Lakers, or let's switch this, the Pelicans called the Lakers and said, hey, we're interested in trading Herb Jones. Can we get Dalton Connect, Maxi Kleba, and a 2031 first round pick? Would you guys be interested in that? I think Rob Pelinka would drive Dalton Connect and Maxi Kleba to New Orleans, not even in a flight. Just, I want to play this one safe. I want to drive them over there. I want to show them how beautiful our country is. I want to take them all the way out to Louisiana, and I'll take my chances there of hand delivering them these two players plus that 2031 pick, because I do think Herb Jones would be a perfect fit for the Lakers. A perfect fit for the Lakers. The only reason why I don't like talking Herb Jones when it comes to some of these trade chatter, I have hesitation that the Pelicans want to do a move with the Lakers. I do. Now, listen, the Lakers got Luka Doncic, so what the hell do I know? I mean, there's certain players obviously out there that make sense, but he's a phenomenal defender. He can put a lot of pressure on ball handlers out there, and it doesn't matter. It's a bigger point guard, it's a smaller point guard. It doesn't matter. You want a guy like Herb Jones on your team. So I love the idea. I love the concept. By the way, this is also what I like about Herb Jones. He signed a 3-year, $68 million extension with the Pelicans. I don't want to see the Lakers. So basically, he's under contract to 2029, 2030 with a player option. I don't want to see the Lakers making any trades that is in a LeBron window. I don't want to see the Lakers make any trades that's in a 1-year window, even a 2-year window. What I'd like to see from the Lakers is any trade that they make, it is a trade that, hey, this guy's going to be with Luka for the next 3-4 years. That's how the Lakers should be looking at any move that they make. We've turned the chapter. LeBron was awesome, phenomenal. 8th year with the Lakers, but obviously every decision that you make moving forward, it's what does Luka want, not what does LeBron want. And I'm not even telling you that LeBron's asking for anything. I'm just telling you that from just a pure basketball perspective, I got a 26-year-old, I got a 40-year-old, these decisions easy. I got to make sure that I'm accommodating to what the 26-year-old wants or what we feel like goes best with a 26-year-old for X amount of years. So there's one. Like I mentioned, Bill Simmons mentioning that, yes, Herb Jones would make a lot of sense for the Lakers. They're not giving up any of the roster spots that they're giving up have no significance on the Lakers. Now, maybe all the Pelicans care about is we want that pick. We want Maxi Kleba's expiring contract, and we'll take a flyer on Dalton Connect. We'll give it a shot. There's no harm in having Dalton Connect go to a different team and see if he can get real rotational minutes and maybe boost Dalton Connect's confidence, which I think at times has felt like it's got hit with the Lakers. He can't really get into any groove with the Lakers. He's in the lineup, out of the lineup. He plays a couple of minutes here, and then he's gone for a couple of games. So the Herb Jones one, I agree with him. It's a no-brainer. The problem is, do the Pelicans have any interest in that? And if I'm the Pelicans, let's kind of switch the script here. I'm the Pelicans. I'm telling all these teams that are competing in the West and the Eastern Conference, Herb Jones is available. Make the best offer that you can. He's young. He's a 3-and-D player. He's athletic. He can guard multiple positions, and he's on I think, a team-friendly contract as well. Make your offers. It's going to be a tough one to get. I think that's, at the end of the day, the point that I'm making. The other one that was linked to the Lakers, I mentioned Keon Ellis. I'll point out, now, if you ask me between the two, would you rather have Herb Jones or would you rather have Keon Ellis? I want the versatile, I want that wing player. So I'm going to lean more towards, this is just me, I'm going to lean much more towards a player like Herb Jones than I am Keon Ellis. Again, this is not saying that one of these two players, these are the only conversations. It's just the idea and the concept of what these players are. All right, let me read here. Keon Ellis, 25 years old. I know his contract is a lot. It's a lot less of a contract. As far as his size, I mentioned he's a lot shorter, so he's 6'4". Does have a 6'9" wingspan, so that's obviously a huge get right there. Shoots the three ball at 42%. Better three-point shooter than Herb Jones. So those are two players that are being thrown around now around the Lakers, and it's not the first time it's happened. Do the Sacramento Kings want to help the Los Angeles Lakers? I'm going to go ahead and lean towards probably not. But the idea and the concept and the trade chatter already starting, it should start, because I think we all know one thing about the Lakers right now. The current roster has to improve. And the only way the current roster is going to improve is if you go to a team that's looking for expiring contracts. They want cleaner books and they want some draft compensation. That's the only way that it's going to happen. But any move that the Lakers make, obviously the biggest thing is going to have to be you got to have a player that you feel like is going to be around for multiple years. My other issue with Keon Ellis, he's in the final year of his contract, so he can walk after this year. I'm not trying to get a guy that can walk. I'm trying to get a guy that can play with Luka for the next few years.
Thank you very much for watching the clip presented by the Wallace Firm. If you need an injury attorney, wallacewins.com/Sliwa, official injury attorney of Hoopstock.